Hey guys, it's WaifuGate here again. So today we're going to be going over the weekly viewer deck analysis episode. I think it's 6 now. So here in this video series, we take lists from viewers, whether that be from YouTube or the stream. Usually it's from the latter, but sometimes it's from the former, like once in a great while. And we just take them and analyze them. So I give my feedback on like the main deck, the sideboard, what I think could be better, like, land count wise, or if we need more board wipes, less answers, more proactive stuff, whatever the case might be. It varies a lot because a lot of people bring a lot of interesting decks. And basically the viewer will be like, hey, I've got this best of one list that I like to meme around on. And even though it's a meme, I really want that to perform better, so it's a little more consistent. So, maybe bring my win rate up from 48% to, 52 or 53 or something, They're just looking to tweak it. Or if they have a meta deck type thing that they're trying to break into to try to tweak it for the meta. And I do my best to help with that. Usually the viewer lists are historic, and the meta list weekly analysis, which is another video series I do, is mostly for standards. So if you guys are into that, it's pretty easy to find the playlist. So, and yeah, let's get into it. Oh, wait. Code giveaway. Ha, I remembered. I knew there was something. So we do an MTGA code giveaway for most of the YouTube videos. Most of the newer ones will have it. First come, first serve. Drop in the comments below if you happen to win, if you want to. What you get from the prize. That way people know that the code is consumed because it's a one-time use. And also I keep a leaderboard for best and worst card pulled, so we can update that. Right now it's Questing Beast and Shoal Kraken, I believe. Questing Beast being the best and Shoal Kraken being the worst. All right, let's dig into the list. So first up, we have historic big vamps. So we've got Knight, Adanto Vanguard, one of the old favorites. So this is historic. Dusk Legion Zealot. Ooh, this is a new card. Well, not new, but like I haven't really paid a lot of attention to it. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, each opponent loses 3 life. Okay. This is pretty good against aggro too, as a 1/4 flying life linker. Like that blocks just about everything. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained 3 or more life this turn, return the ghoul from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Tap 2, sacrifice it, draw a card. That's pretty cool. So that's like a little, so it's a zombie vampire. So you get some value there, basically. You take a little bit of the steam off. Dude, Gonti, oh my god, I forgot about this kid. Oh my lord. I love this guy. So 4 mana. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of target opponent's library, exile one of them face down, then put the rest on the bottom of that library in a random order. But as long as that card remains exile, you may look at it, you may cast it, and you may spend mana as though it were any mana type to cast. I remember running like Sakdos control lists with this guy, and it was just hilarious. It was funny. I love this guy. He's also a rogue, which could have synergy in other decks as well. Just love him. So cool. Sanctum Seeker. 4 of. This seems a little heavy, but I can kind of understand it if the deck is named Big Vamps, like bigger mana cost. Is this guy a vampire? He's not. He's just awesome, I guess. When Champ of Dusk enters the battlefield, draw X and lose X, where X is the number of vamps you control. Makes sense. Just a lot of draw power and such. And then Vanya, Butcher of Magan. So pay 7, destroy target non-basic, non-land permanent. Activate this ability only during your turn. Kind of nice because it has lifelink as well as vigilance, so you can swing with it and then hold up that destruction spell at the opponent's turn, which is cool, where you untap. And we've got a total of 5 Swarens here. So 4 Swarens of the good ones, like the 3 drops that are pretty easy to get down. Target creature you control gains death touch and lifelink. If it's a vampire, put a 1/1 counter on it. Pretty nice, since most of these are vampires aside from Gonti. +1, you may sacrifice a vamp. When you do, Sorin deals 3 damage to any target and you gain 3 life. Pretty nice. Just like spot removal. You can also sack stuff like the ghoul, where you can get more value out of it. Instead of drawing a card, you sack this and then you can pay 2 mana and bring them back. Oh no, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, you just return them to the battlefield. There's no mana cost, so that's absolutely free. You can just +1 and Lightning Helix with this guy all day. That's actually awesome. That's pretty funny. And then you can sack him to draw a card. That's pretty sweet. And then -3, you can put a Champion of Dusk from the battlefield, or from your hand into the battlefield, or Vanya, which is pretty nice, or Sanctum Seeker. Like, you can cheat out dudes, which is awesome. Sideboard looks pretty straightforward. 4 grass for like Nissas and such, for Teferis, etc. 4 gifted Aetherborns. This is more for aggro, I believe. So that's not terrible. And then we've got D-Spark, which is pretty okay if there's a lot of hits for this. I feel like this might be less important since like Reclamation Nexus is kind of on the down low. Like you're not really slowing that matchup up anymore. So maybe there's a consideration for like maybe 3D Sparks, 4 Duresses, just so you have answers to board wipes, because that's what you lose to in aggro. I'd say that would be pretty okay as a slight change. Other than that, I don't know Historic 2/2 accurately. Like, I would want some type of maybe board wipe, or some, not board wipe, but some type of answer to like Field of the Dead decks. Like maybe the card that's like on Mordigo just for black potentially for Field of the Dead, but maybe that's a little too slow. But I think D-Spark is slightly less value nowadays since Nexus will be banned or whatever, or has been banned soon. So question is like if this type of an aggro list needs an answer to Field of the Dead, or maybe like a Legion's End or something for the sideboard for it. Like that way you can reset the field and keep going, or whatever else, sneak in some damage or whatever. Overall, it looks really fun. Lots of value. I like the list. I'd say maybe 1 less Sanctum Seeker, unless this guy's just ending games. Use the Plague enchantment. The Plague. Oh, yeah. The thing that gives all... Okay. Valiant Plague. Okay. Gotcha. Okay, so there's a sideboard card to consider for Field of the Dead, because I think that deck's going to pick up, and I'd want more answers to wide board states, or just to Field of the Dead in general. All token creatures get -2/-2. Nice. Yeah, that's a good one. So yeah, I would sideboard that in for Field of the Dead. Force them to like Teferi bounce it, and then produce creatures, and then still die when you cast it again. Pretty sweet. Okay, nice. Yeah, Plague for that. That's about the only change I would make. Like maybe trim one of these two for, I'd say 3rd Gonti, because I like them a lot, but that's just me. Like personal preference. Alright, so we've got Historic Bolus, and oh, nice name. For Strider Stone. So we've got the Shirtless Jace, or the that Jace, which is pretty interesting. We got Stitchers, so Self-Mill. So I see Self-Mill. We got Ramp, Cultivate. Liliana. So she allows you, her ulti lets you bring things back, and her -3 allows you to answer the field. And her +1 just makes it harder for the opponent to get value, and you just want to feed your graveyard
when
anyway.
You're on a chicken bender, grab a box of chicken tenders.
GNSXTRKZ donated $3. Here, have some free money.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you, dude. Thank you for the thank you for the money. Thank you for the $3, man. That will go toward coffee for sure, or coffee creamer. Both are pretty important. You've got Tameo to self-mill as well, Liliana to self-mill. Shatters, just because most of your creatures are indestructible here, or you don't care about them and you want them in your graveyard anyway. And then we've got Oath of Teferi, which is a meme, but I understand. Maybe it's important so you can +1 Tameo and minus her in the same turn, or just minus her twice with Plane Wide or something. I don't know. There's no Plane Wide though. Need Oath for the combo. Is it Jace? Infinite Bolus combo? Infinite Bolus combo. Jace plus Bolus plus Oath. Jace plus, so draw a card, then discard a card. Jace is -5. Make copies of Bolus. You get Bolus, you +1 Bolus once, and then you minus, and then you do it again. Okay, okay. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. And you just sack your other Bolus or whatever because it doesn't matter because you just want the fresh one with the copy. And then you just make it so your opponent has no resources and you have infinite cards in hand. Nice. Okay. That's the meme. The 7th Bolus. Except they're not legendary. Ah, I see. Oh, wow. Okay. Nice, okay. So yeah, and if you have Eugene out, it's +2 loyalty. And then you can just keep making more Bolus. Okay. Alright, so that's the combo. Oh. You can see the combo in the video that's on there? Okay. Sweet Yuri Ultimatum. Oh god. This is juicy.
Sweet. Sweet nectar.
Oh Jesus. They just give up. No combo for you, dude. Rip. Rippity no combo for you, man. Okay. So you ultimatum to get all of that and you just want to self-mill it or discard it or something. Any considerations for like 1 or 2 Teferi Master of Times instead of the Liliana? Like just so you can draw discard stuff as well and find like combo pieces a little bit easier. Because people requested it, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I feel like Lily isn't as good. But that makes sense. More videos, dude. No WaifuGate face, rip. Any Pog champs. Need to discard something somehow. Yeah, I would say Teferi Masters of Time, like maybe a combination of the two would be interesting. Because she can answer the field a little bit too as you go. And then Teferi can do sort of the same thing as well. So I think like 2 and 2 would be cool just so you have different permanent names as well for Yuri, because that just makes sense. But you know, if your chat wants to force you to play 4 copies of a bad card, that's fine too. I understand. And relate. But yeah, it looks really fun. I like it. It is spicy. I'd probably give it a go at some point, like just to see if I can min-max it a little bit. Cultivates seem a little weird. Is a free brainstorm every turn after 5? Yeah. Yeah, with like... Yeah, with Teferi, you're just like, whoop! Because then you can like brainstorm, be like, okay, and then discard a garbage card. But that's kind of cool. I like the idea of that with that. Like Teferi Master of Time with Underrealm. I like that a lot. I like that he's not legendary either, so you can just have multiple beat sticks out. Like this is a pretty fast clock too. Once you get your opponent on lockdown with the infinite combo. Because you're never drawing a card? Yeah, nice. So it gets around that too, nice. That's kind of cool too. I do like that. How is your win rate with this type of a deck, Strider, out of curiosity, so people like watching the video kind of can get an idea for it? Let me check. Okay, sounds good. No rush. But yeah, overall, I would like to see like 2 copies of Teferi Master of Time somewhere in here. I understand this because these are good chumpers and it self mills. Like this is perfect, in my opinion here. And then we've got 4 cultivates, which is just ramp. Jace. I almost prefer like I would almost prefer Migration Path over Cultivate maybe, but I'm not sure. It's like really tough to know what type of ramp you really want. Like I can understand not wanting Growth Spiral to do something different, especially when you have a lot of 2-drops anyway, like 1 to 2 drops. And then like having the 3 on curve makes sense. You can see that. Yeah. And it's the most value you can get out of it since you're not like using Yorion to blink. Like Omen of the Hunt could be okay if you were doing that type of deal. You wanted more value there, but this makes sense too. Omen's also really good for like Eerie Ultimatum, but that's like a minor point. Like once you Eerie with this deck, you're pretty much winning anyway. Like it doesn't matter what else you're getting back as long as you're getting back combo pieces. So makes sense. And this is a best of 1 meta, by the way, for this deck specifically. Just so people know what's going on. So, but yeah, I would say -2 of these for Teferi Time Ravelers to have different permanents, and then like it's good to go in my opinion. Win rate was bad, definitely needed tweaking. Gotcha, yeah. I think the lilies are kind of holding you back. Or like just maybe a little more on the board wipe side of things too, potentially, just so you're definitely not dying to aggro, but or like some type of like Omen of the Sea or something to draw into board wipes or something. Like just depends on how you want to go about it, I would say. Okay, so now we have a historic Maze's End deck. We have no sideboard, which is fine. You don't have to have a sideboard. Like this is a best of 1 deck. This can be a best of 1 deck. We've got 4 Grazers, Growth Spirals. I would say the land base is really small. Like this is terrible for a 60 card list. Like I would cut like 1 to 2 copies of Angel. I would cut like really weird. I'd probably cut a Grazer, even like 3 Grazers, cut 1 Grazer maybe. Cut 1 Grazer for a land, cut 2 Angels for a land, and then we're kind of okay. I want like 27 lands, I would say. There's no Maze's End here either. No, there is. If you control 10 or more gates with different names, you win the game. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have to have 1 of each, basically. So I would just add in more lands, man. That's the biggest critique I can say about this type of list. Otherwise, it looks good, especially for best of 1. Well, it's 4 Grazers with 24 plus Uros. To give you a like an idea, people usually prefer anywhere from 28 to 27 to 29 lands with multiple cards that require multiple lands, because you not only need to hit your land drop for the turn, you have to have an extra land on top of that. So I would say definitely trim like 2 Angels, maybe trim like 1 Circuitous Route or something, or you have a lot of board wipes, dude. I probably wouldn't run all of these. Like I would cut the Settles, like chop Settles right out, gone. Because Gruul Spellbreaker says this card doesn't work anyway, and he's pretty popular in Historic. So cut Settles, is what I would say. Cut 2 Angels maybe, and then add in more lands, I would say, and the deck looks kind of okay. You just have too many board wipes here. It's too reactive. So I'd say cut Settles, 3, maybe 4, maybe trim 1 Angel. So that's 3, 3, 4. Add in even 4 lands. I'd just say run 4 lands, 4 extra lands, go up to 28, so you're hitting land drops more consistently, and then you're good. Because like the thing is, you don't flood out on lands. You can't because of Guild Summit. And you're basing stuff off of your personal experience, which is terrible. And you can't change your land base because you're getting flooded. You need to run the optimal lands for the deck based off of the math. So even here it says recommended lands 26. You should be running at least that many. You know what I'm saying? You can't base things off of personal experiences unless you have like 1,000 games in. And then you can check to see how many times you've gotten land screwed versus flooded, etc. And then you can start talking about it. Anything short of 100 games is trash for a sample size. Like, you're just guessing at that point. You're feeling it out, and it's like, it's just not even You're not going to get any good information. And the reason why you definitely don't care about getting flooded in this type of a list is because if you see guild summits, then you're fine. Also, if you're really afraid of getting flooded, you can put stuff in like mana sinks, like 1 or 2 Hydroid Crassus. And then like if you do get flooded, you have a card that says, hey, if you have a lot of lands, I got your back. And then you draw like, 4 cards, etc. And it's nice, right? That's good. So I would say 27 lands, 27 to 28 lands. I would cut. Your cuts are Settle the Wreckages and Archway Angels. I'd say 1 or 2 of these. And then all of your settles out because you have 3 shatters and gates. I would run 4 shatters if I wanted to run more board wipes and 4 gates ablaze, and that would be fine. And then just rely on other stuff to kind of get you there. That's what I would say. Yep. And then maybe like 2 Crassus if you want to find room for it, but I'd say 28 lands, 2 Crassus, and more lands. That's the summary of it is more lands for this type of a list. Just too few. Definitely not going to see extra lands off of Uro or Grazer like ever or Spiral. For the most part. You runs 30. Yeah. I mean, it's also like if they want to run the list, they can run it, right? Like you're like the epitome of that Strider. Like your decks don't win either, right? And also saying that I usually beat this list doesn't really matter either, Strider, because it's like you run Mimi decks that kind of punish lands. Like, duh, you're going to win those matchups, man. Like, you Star of Extinction, one of their Maze's End, or a Guild Gate that they need, etc. Of course you're going to win. Duh. But, like, do you win harder against aggro, or with this list with, like, Archway Angels, more board wipes than you run, etc. win? So... Over how many games though, mate? Like the win rate doesn't matter unless you're playing about 1,000. So, or like at least 100 games. Like win rate doesn't matter unless you have a lot of data. So that's what I would say. I would just like run more lands, less board wipes here, and then find room for like a Crassus or 2, and like at least 3 more lands. I would say the biggest change I would do. One. Do I do commander deck reviews? Not typically. Someone asked that. Typically, I don't have enough experience in commander decks to give a lot of feedback on. So that'll be it for this the deck segment here. All right, so hopefully that was helpful in some way or another, whether it's like how to maybe mess with the land count a little bit, or just shifting cards here and there, knowing what's important, how to get to your goal for your deck and whatnot. And maybe it showed you some interesting lists that you might want to try out. That's sort of the goal of the series. So if you have any comments or questions, you can feel free to drop them in the comments below or stop by my stream. Usually stream from 2 p.m. CST until about 8 p.m. CST, Central Standard Time. And there'll be like an end panel where you can click and subscribe, check out another video, whatever you want to do. And yeah, I'll see you guys for the next video. Thanks again for stopping by.